Today on Domain to Profit, we are going to be talking about one of the ways that expiring domain auctions can be trolled. Trolled, yes, trolled. It's a little bit of a loophole that somebody can use to find out how much their domain name would sell for at auction, which is super helpful for them maybe, but you and I on the buying end of expiring domain names, well, it's a little unfortunate. Hurts a little bit. Can be a little painful. So we're going to talk about that, but we're also going to do exactly what we do every single week here live. We are going to look through the expiring domain names that are coming up this week, which there are some fantastic domain names, many of which are 5-figure or more domain names. Unfortunately, we're being trolled, and most likely none of them or very few of them will actually expire. I'll show you how I know that, how you can check on future auctions, and what you should do about it. Like, what can you do to try to be trolled less? Sound helpful? Well, I think it is. So make sure you go ahead and say hi into the chat. Let the community know, the great community we have here over on Domain to Profit. Let them know you're here, maybe where you're from. We got people from all over the world that join us. I'm Drew Walsh, this Domain to Profit. I'll see you on the other side. Maybe.
From domain to profit, from a dot-com to a business idea. Take a domain name, develop an income from domain to profit. We'll show you how. Domain to profit, from domain to profit. Join Drew Walsh and get started right now.
All righty, there we go. Matt's saying that I'm in the void. Yes, I have the black background up. I got rid of the static thing. Just to play. So yeah, it looks like the void for sure. And hi, Matt. See you here. Missed you last week. I know you said you were watching, but we missed you in the chat. Fred, how's it going? Yes, the void is where the domain trolls live. Exactly. It was all part of a theme and so on. So yeah, that's what it was. So I'm gonna pop off. I want to look at these domains. So you're gonna see. Hopefully the void is tolerable for you. I can always pop back up the background. But in fact, I'm going to, because otherwise I'm going to be distracted or something. How about this? We can do that. The animated. Nope. I'm going to play, baby. What can I say? Okay. So we have some great domain names. We're going to pop over to expireddomains.net, which is this over here. Bing. Actually, that's Godaddy auctions. We are going to go here, expireddomains.net. As you probably know, that's where we spend quite a bit of our time. We filter out a bunch of domain names. We look through hundreds of thousands of domain names that are going to expire this week. That means they're coming up for auction. They're going to be available for you to participate in the auction, potentially buy, potentially take ownership and possession of. And specifically here on Domain to Profit, we look for those domain names that are great for development type domain names. I'm going to probably start to more frequently mention like, hey, this is an investment domain name. Here's maybe what I'd pay for it and move on. Just for those who do buy for the sake of valuing a domain name. But I just want to mention that's not what we're here for. We want to see domain names developed. And that's what we're going to be talking about. So let's go back over to the screens here, back to expireddomains.net. And down here, you'll see the web address that you can go to find the filters that we use to filter the domain names. But I want to show you something different today. I want to add in something, and that is up here in this corner, there's something called Column Manager. And at the end of last week's show, we opened the Column Manager, and we added in cost per click. So cost per click it's going to go away. We've been alerted that it's going to disappear from expireddomains.net. But what you can do is go here to the AdWords, click on the little plus, and then you could add the cost per click. That just shows you what some advertisers are paying for domains, might be helpful. But for today's show, we're going to talk about these I'll call them trolls, but these people that take advantage of the expiring domain loophole. And to do that, it might be helpful to turn on here in this general category, the registrar. And what that will do is show the registrar of a domain name. And the registrar is where the domain name is renewed and housed, for example, like where you pay to keep that domain name. So GoDaddy is a registrar, as well as many others, which you'll see. So as we ran our filters, basically, I just went to my saved searches, pulled up the filters that I show you how to do on that video down there. It pulled up this here, those two columns that we added, the cost per click. So this is the amount that people pay per click to reach this audience, which we see on SpyFu. We will continue to do that as well. But over here, you'll see the registrar. And the registrar, you'll notice something very conspicuous about the top 4 domains there. And that is they are Enom domains. So Enom.com is a registrar, much like GoDaddy. I've had domains there. Many others have domains there. And as a registrar, they kind of, as long as they obey the general rules, the rules that ICANN sets up, ICANN being, this is a lot of details. You can ignore some of them if you wish. But as long as they abide by the ICANN rules, which that's the governing body of all domains, they can kind of do whatever they want to, as long as they stay within the framework. And ICANN sets up requirements that domains can be renewed and registered over certain periods of time, and they go through a process when a domain name expires. So by the time a domain name gets to this list, it has indeed expired. The domain name will no longer go to the website that the domain name was previously pointing to. Then it goes through a period where only the person that registered it can redeem it. And then eventually it will actually go to a delete. And that's when the domain name is available again as for registration. That is also when you, as the winner of an auction, would be able to take possession of the domain name. So these domain names here that are Enom domain names, that registrar does things differently than GoDaddy. Enom allows their people to renew a domain name all the way past a domain name auction ending into the last possible second. So what this looks like to us, as we see like this top domain name here, tailors.com. I mean, it's a freaking giant domain name. It's a great domain name. I want it. I will be bidding on tailors.com. The only thing is, I have a 99.9% guess, or I don't expect to actually get the domain name. Because I see it's an Enom domain name, and especially these other great domains here, these are probably all by the same owner, and they are not going to actually let these domain names go all the way through that expiration to the delete period. They're going to wait to the last possible moment and then pay the fee to renew that domain name. It's a loophole. It's super frustrating for you. It's frustrating for me, but it does help them know what their domain name would sell for, which is why people do this. So we can cry about it all we want. Unfortunately, the rules of the game allow it. And until GoDaddy steps up to say, no, this isn't allowed, things have to change, there's nothing we can, as domain buyers, we can do about it. So, make sense? Okay. So anytime you see Enom over there on the registrar, and I'll also show you another way to find out. So we're going to go ahead and click on tailors.com, which GoDaddy appraises. Well, we'll see it here in a second when GoDaddy stuff pops up here. So they appraise it at $21,000. I think that's probably pretty darn accurate for a change. Typically, I say the estimated value is just a guess. But in this case, it's probably going to be the $20,000 range of a domain name. Currently at $3,500, ends in 7 days. So by the time this show comes around next week, this domain name will have just ended. So how do we know that this one, if we're looking at this page, how do we know this is an Enom domain name, not a GoDaddy? Well, one of the things you can do is go all the way down and then click on this Who Is link. And it's going to be a helpful thing to do, especially when would you use this? I use this if I expect a domain name is going to be high 4 figures or more. Honestly, it's annoying if it happens for lesser domains for me, but I don't really worry about it. If I was going to bid a 6-figure domain name, I would definitely be looking at this data and into more data than what we typically do here on the show. So when we click on that, you can see here the registrar is Enom. So there you go, Enom domains. So you can both see it on expireddomains.net as well as over here on the actual who is for this domain name. And as always, you can see that everything else is going to be hidden. So why does that even matter? And what can we do about it? Well, if you know that domain name will likely not actually come all the way through the auction, but you want it, your hands are going to be tied, right? I want this domain name. I want to bid on this domain name. So this is where using that last minute bidding strategy that we talk about, bidding within the last 5 minutes or 5 minutes, 10 seconds left in the auction, is pretty important. So we don't want the owner of tailors.com to know the value of this domain name until the last possible second. So if by chance they renew it today, tomorrow, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 6 days from now, this domain doesn't actually, the auction doesn't end until 7 days from now. So if we can just postpone them getting what they want, I like that. It's kind of like trolling the troller. We want to do everything we can to keep them from getting what they want because realistically, they're just using us. But eventually, if you want the domain name, you're going to have to bid on it. So wait as long as possible to do it. The second thing I would do when I bid on tailors.com, let's say you win the domain name. You wait till the last 5 minutes, you put in your top bid, and let's say you win the domain name. Now what? Now you owe some large amount of money for a domain name that you still may not actually get. And chances are you're going to win the auction. You're going to see the bill for $10,000, $15,000 for this domain name. And it's going to be sitting there with the pay now link. It's going to say, well, I'll go to my GoDaddy auction thing here. I guess I should go to the one page. See if I can click it again. I believe I have a domain name that I've won recently. So when I won Business Simulator yesterday. So, okay. What's happened there? Sure, it's perfectly normal. So here you'll see that Business Simulator is, I bought it yesterday, and it has this link for pay now. So it's saying it's ready for purchase. Once you buy, say, for example, tailors.com, that domain name is going to be, it's going to have that link immediately. However, here's the nice thing, I guess. You don't have to pay that amount of money for a few days. GoDaddy will leave that link up, and then they'll start to send you emails. And you want to pay, wait as long as possible to pay. Because here's what's going to happen for those of you that want to pay that bill immediately. I can see it now. You win this great domain name, and you're like, hey, I'm super excited. I got tailors.com. And the auction ends, and you're like, boom, I'm going to put my credit card number in. I'm going to pay this $15,000. You pay the $15,000, and that doesn't actually mean you're not coming closer to winning that domain name. You won the auction, but the domain name isn't in the possession of GoDaddy. So it's really important that you kind of wait as long as possible, because here's what's going to happen to you as it does to me every time I win one of these Enom or other domain auctions. You pay the money, you wait a few days, and just when you think you're going to get that domain name into your account, poof, it disappears. Where'd the domain go? Where did the domain go? You paid the money, but the domain name disappeared, and then eventually you get that refund from GoDaddy, but now you've added the transaction. It sat there for several days. You gave, I guess, GoDaddy a free several-day interest-free loan, and then you get that money back eventually. A freaking hassle, right? It's a giant hassle to deal with that kind of thing. It happens all the time. That's why I slow pay as much as possible. In my case, the credit card on file is charged at the last possible minute. It automatically charges before it goes through a redemption period. So wait as long as possible to pay the bill. That's my advice. So that's really all you can do. Bid as late as possible, pay as late as possible. In many cases, if they renew it late, then voila, you never had to show your max value. They don't know what the domain's worth. It was not a helpful process for them. Or the other option, they renew it after the auction ends. You haven't paid, therefore, when the domain's pulled back, you weren't out the hassle of paying, refunding, dealing with all the credit card stuff. I believe that's helpful advice, and it's going to matter because, as you can see, these top domains here that we have this week, fantastic domains, by the way. I love them. Tailors.com is perfect for what we do. I want that domain name, but once I saw it was Enom, I was like, that's a big deal. That's going to be an issue. So, okay. Got the Enom talk out. So now that I've kind of walked you through how that works, what you can do about it to try to prevent and make it as least of a hassle and a headache as possible, we're going to talk about these domain names, even though they likely won't go all the way through to where I can take the domain name. So one more thing I just wanted to mention, the title screen that we used today, the 99 problems but opportunity isn't one, is paying homage to the fact that today is the 99th week of Domain to Profit. So 99 weeks in a row, 99 problems but opportunity isn't one, because every single week here on Domain to Profit, we see new opportunities. So yeah, lots of problems out in the world, but thank you, Expired Domains. You provide lots of opportunities and opportunities for me to get on here and chat every single week. So there we go. So yeah, 99 problems, but opportunity isn't one. Next week is going to be the 100th week in a row, which is kind of a milestone. So I never expected to do this as long as what I have, but I love doing it. And I don't know what's going to happen next week. There's no major plans. I decided long ago that one of the things I love about this show and what keeps it going is it's informal. I get to hang out with you in the community, and there's not a lot of pressure to create like amazing content every week or anything like that. The content is the domain names. The domain names take care of the content. So I'm up for doing something next week. There may be something, but I'm not going to put pressure on myself and ruin what I love about this show, which is, we're looking at domains. So we'll see what happens. You won't know until you're here next week. So make sure you've liked and subscribed and join us next week for week 100 of Domain to Profit. It is a bit deal. Is that she corrected herself. It's a big deal, but I love it. And nice to see you in the chat as well. I know you sometimes get on, and let me see. Yeah, 100 will be fantastic. Thank you so much. I wouldn't do this if I didn't have you all joining me each week, just so you know. If it was crickets out there in the chat world, I just looked at domains on my own, be doing this on my own. So, okay, here we go. Domain to Profit, tailors.com. So, as I mentioned previously, already $3,500. You do not want to bid on this domain name until last possible minute. As I said, most likely this is somebody kind of trolling us using that loophole. So this domain name, 3,500, I'm going to grab the domain, because I already did a spell check, because I wasn't even sure if it's spelled right. Is a Taylor, is that how you spell Taylor? Notoriously horrible. So here's why I like this domain name, and here's why this one's great for development. You may want to bid against me or go after it yourself. We see 2,900 keyword monthly volume, estimated 1,100 clicks available, kind of unrelated. This is what we mainly want to look at, 2,900. But what really caught my eye with this domain name, when I saw this, I'm like, really not a big deal. I'm not really loving it a lot much. Over here is why this domain name caught my eye and really drew me in as wanting to participate in the auction. And it is my favorite keyword, near me. Near me. So just like on towing.com, which is my primary business, we used towing.com, localized it to where towers can show up in their local area, and we just charge a small monthly fee. We can do that with tailors as well, using this exact same model and going after these near me traffic. So even though the exact match is rather low, which is unusual for the record, like towing is much higher than this, but it also has a lot high numbers for near me. Basically it means it's not a six-figure domain name, but hey, it's a good domain name. So we see that the opportunity is there. We see that there's localization. And then we go down here, we look at the advertisers, and that's where it gets a little painful. We're not seeing advertisers targeting tailors as a specific keyword. I'm like, why is that? Not 100% sure. I'll show you a little bit more of what I found here in a second. Cost per click, $2. So, hey, the cost per click's high enough. I love seeing that. But why are there no advertisers? Well, if we come up here, click on tailors near me, we kind of take care of that a little bit. And once the data loads here, you'll see the data of deeper. Come on now. So you'll see here again, advertisers, nobody's advertised according to Spy Foo. And I'm like, why is that? What's going on? As I could tell you, I like to see double-digit advertisers and above a $2 cost per click. So let's go over to Google. I'm just going to type in tailors and see what pops up. Hopefully you do this kind of thing as well whenever you're researching it. No harm in checking Google to see what's showing up with it. So you'll see tailors, person who occupies making fitted clothes. That's what we're kind of going for. I guess it's also a blue fish, new to me. But again, there's no advertisers showing up here. Tailors near me. So again, where are the ads? They're not there. And I have no clue. For the record, I've not found why there are no ads. What does this tell us if there are no ads for this domain name? It tells us, like kind of alerts, right? So there's either one of two things happening. When there's no ads, it either means Google is not accepting ads for this keyword. I'm not sure why they would. Like cannabis and medical type stuff, they do not accept payments. You cannot pay them. They don't accept the ads. It's just too much of a hassle for them. Tailors, though, seems like an odd choice for not accepting ads. So what it comes down to is most likely they're too small of businesses and they just don't do this. Not sure what's going on with that. So that's putting up a red flag for me. For the record, if there was 10 advertisers or more and they were paying that $10 per or $2 per click, I would be all in on this domain name and would expect it to be mid to high five figures. Because the ad information is just inconclusive, that increased risk quite a bit for the domain name. And now you have to do it based on the merit of the domain name. Basically what it comes down to is I expect it to be a low five-figure domain name. And I also expect it to be pulled at the last minute and never actually reach the account of the person that it's in. Okay, there's tailors.com. We talked probably too much about that. Evanston.com. Evanston is a city, a pretty big city, if I'm not mistaken. You'd have to look it up. Again, look at these top 4. Great domain name if you're into geolocation type domain names, which you can do localization of data, basically show all the local businesses. Take what we do with tailors.com or any local localization, showing the companies in a specific area, like Tailors Near Me. Instead, you just show all the businesses near me. And that would be how you would develop out a city. We've talked about that in the past. And then Windy City. What's the Windy City? Chicago. Huge domain name. And then Fine Wines. Again, seeing how great those top 4 domains are. All of them are, darn close to 5-figure or higher. The fact that they're all from Enom, either somebody's letting their portfolio go or realistically they're shopping for those prices. Okay, we're going to move on. Yeah, I agree. Stuart's mentioning that weird thought. I thought there'd be ads for Tailors too. I'm not sure what the deal with that is. The only thing I can come up with is maybe there's so few, although the keyword, I've not figured it out. If you figure it out, then so be it. You can outbid me for sure. If you figure out that mystery, then you can count on having more information than I do. I'm going to be looking to solve that mystery also, because I want the domain name, but I don't want to get carried away without full information. So, okay. So I'm skipping over Windy City, which would again be a Chicago type domain name. Chicago's the Windy City, would be a great location-based domain name. I will bid in all these auctions, Fine Wines even. I don't like product-based domain names. I don't like wine domain names. I think they're overvalued in most cases. But I'm not going to take a chance on missing out on these great domain names just because I'm worried they're going to be pulled back. So I'm going to bid last minute, and then I'm going to pay last minute. That's pretty much how I'm going to handle those. That's how I would recommend you do it as well. Okay, Dance Party. I guess, again, not a go. So over here, anytime you see a GoDaddy auction, that means that domain name is going to, when you pay for it, it's going into your account. So when you see GoDaddy, that is a domain name you will get. Extremely rare for you not to get the domain name if it says GoDaddy over here. Danceparty.com, I like it. Let's go check it out. Here's a geeky fact about me, which I love. I'm a geek, by the way. But we have we do Friday night game night. So game night Friday. Game night, we often do a dance party, and we play, old 90s like rap music stuff, and we freaking dance around. Me and my 7-year-old daughter jamming around, and we actually have a spinning. We have a disco ball. We have a disco ball that is set up to run and stuff. So much fun. So much fun. I cannot dance, but I enjoy dancing. Okay, Dance Party, 27,000. And as the owner of DJs.com, I have to say, I have interest in danceparty.com as well. Again, it's not a GoDaddy domain, so it may not actually ever meet to it. Low advertisers, low cost per click, but we do get to see that 27,000 monthly searches is pretty good for the exact match of it. And then we're going to use our Control F, Dance Party. Control F in your browser allows you to highlight the exact match. So now we see all of these other keywords that use our exact matching domain name. So now we can say, not sure what code.org is, code.org dance party. I'm guessing somebody had I'm not sure what that is. Code dance party, DD dance party, hour of, I'm guessing that was an event or something. Dance party game. Some of those, if it's a specific thing, you wouldn't want to target it on your domain name, but it's helpful to know at least that top one is Dance Party. How to get a Dance Party key. Okay, this must be a product. I've not looked into it, but there must be a product or software called Dance Party. Basically, you cannot use this domain name to target that topic, but I think there's plenty of other ways to use the domain name as a generic domain name, which is what I always use it for. So there you go. Danceparty.com ends in 4 days. Currently $29.50 over on GoDaddy auctions. Adding it to my watch list. What would I pay for Dance Party? I'm not sure. I'll be low 4 figures probably for it, which is already where it is, but I'm adding these as interested. Okay. So Coaster Gabi is one of the guys that's at my Friday night game nights, and yeah, there you go. It sometimes explicit lyrics sneak into the playlist. Buy it. Yeah, I'm gonna try. And I haven't said this in a long time, but I don't mind, like, I don't mention that I'm bidding on domains to keep people off of them. I wouldn't do this show if I wanted to hide the fact that I'm bidding on something. If you pay more than me, you win. I don't mind that. Like, that's okay. Competition's fine. The beauty of what we do with development is we can bid with monetization in the background. So that's why development is so freaking important. We actually know what a domain name could be worth versus so many people that just speculate on the value of a domain name and then they have to set a price. Anyhow, it's difficult. Wow.com. Collaborative learning. I hate how long that is, but that's not a bad domain name. Let's go ahead and click on it. See, I got lots of, I saw, let me see, several people popping in late. I saw, first of all, Kevin popped in, checking in. Bill, I'm late, I'm here. And also, I will just mention and remind, if you're watching this on Restream, live is the way to do this. It is the way to do domain to profit. Otherwise, I'll tell you what, you're missing out. You're missing out on the community. You're also missing out on the opportunity to harass me about bad lyrics. Collaborativelearning.com. I think it's a thing. Ends in 2 days. The right keys. Going over to SpyFu. SpyFu.com is the tool we use to analyze the keyword traffic. And let me just look real quick to see where the registrar is. This is a GoDaddy domain name. Kind of paying attention to that a little extra today. I wanted to make sure that, kind of point that out. So 3,800 monthly search volume on this domain. So that it is a thing. I'm going to do the Control V or the Control F to find, collaborative learning strategies, benefits of collaborative learning, Center for Collaborative Learning. So you'll see that there's additional keywords that you can target, although collaborative learning is the main one. Good luck spelling it, but it is there. Going down, we have one advertiser paying over $2 per click. So there's some wiggle room. There's somebody paying for it. There's products, services, digital products out there for it. It would be something you would probably want to build out as a directory of resources for those running collaborative learning or collaborative learning near me, maybe. I don't see it showing up on the keywords. You can try localization on it. But the people that make the products to facilitate collaborative learning, I'm guessing you can just show them in a directory. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Okay, going to add that to my watch list. Although it's not my favorite domain name in the world, it does have some merit. Whew, this room got really warm. BC money account. Again, Enom. A lot of these front page ones are Enom. It's not very common for Enom to show up this frequently on the first page. So I believe these are all business Enom. Like all these generics are the same person. Somebody has them all renewed at the same time and they're all going. So business presentation, pretty boring. I don't like the domain name. It's long. But it could be, I mean, I would certainly invest in that one for probably low 4 figures, like $1,200, $1,300 just not a great domain name and not something it'd be more of an investment. So there's kind of three caps. There's three categories of domain names that I talk about here frequently. There's development. The primary purpose of domain to profit is to develop domain names, talk about the businesses that can be placed on them. That's the primary one. What's the business? How can we turn it into revenue? How can we share that domain name with a community and benefit by making money as the domain owner? Number two would be the marketing type domain names. I don't see any here right now, but these are domain names that are common phrases that you hear in commercials. You hear them on the radio, you hear them in, I see them in print ad. Some of the examples we've seen, 0% or zerointerest.com, getafreequote.com, things that you hear in marketing, and a company could use the domain name for marketing purposes. That's category number two. Category number three is just buying for the purpose of selling. Most likely, you're not going to develop it. You're buying it because you think it's cheap enough that there will be somebody to buy that domain name later. I do that some cases, but it's not the primary purpose of the show. So yeah, I did. I saw that one up there, accidentrepair.com. Let's go check the keyword volume on it. Thank you, Matt. Give you some credit here. As always, you can grab the domain name. If you see one that I'm missing, feel free to call it out in the chat. I will let you know if I'm skipping it on purpose or why I'm skipping it. So in this case, it was a tweener. So I thought it might have something, okay, or it could have been like this. So there's not really anybody searching for it. So this would probably fall in that accident repair. Accident repair probably is more of a marketing domain name. One of the ways you can tell is if you call like a body shop or somebody that does vehicle repair, and you call them up and say, hey, I'm Drew, I'm with accidentrepair.com, and I'd like to feature your company. I mean, there's a little bit of authority, there's a little bit of validation there, but for the most part, it sounds a little weird. It's just missing a little bit. Versus if you go over here and you're like, hey, I'm Drew and I'm with autobody.com. Would you be interested in advertising or listing your body shop on the site? Suddenly, boom, 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 that's a developable domain. Developable, a word? It's really hard to say. So that's a great domain name for development, and that's what we primarily look for. So this one, tweener, we see 5 advertisers paying a little bit, but the keyword volume is really low. The primary thing people are searching for being auto body. Thank you for calling out in chat though, Matt. I appreciate that. Always appreciate it when people are following along. That is why I put the filter, did that video up there to show you the filters that we use so you could follow along if you ever have anything. And I know some people kind of want me to miss the domain name they're interested in. That's okay too. I look at these lists not just live, so I may, hazmat response, I like that one. Very niche domain name. I'm guessing if I had to predict what this one, so this one ends tomorrow, so this is a last minute type domain name. I am guessing this one's very high cost per click, but very low volume. Let's find out. So and very low everything else. Okay, no big deal. I figured it was very niche. There's only very few companies that do hazmat response type stuff. Hazmat spill response, hazmat. Okay, not really much happening with it. I do like it. I'm going to add it to my watch list, but for the sake of development, I'm guessing there's hazmat response services. That's kind of what I was thinking. But it appears not to be much of a thing. Now, with that said, I do think that just because there's not a lot of volume, if you know that something is a thing, so hazmat response, for example, I think that's a great keyword for the very niche service of somebody that comes and takes care of hazmat. So there's a gas spill, so an auto accident, and there's gas all over the place. Somebody has to know how to come and prevent that gas from getting in waterways and things like that. So there's a specific service for it. Those people probably are small enough companies that they don't necessarily want to spend a bunch of time on their web and stuff. That might mean it's a great opportunity for you to help them with their web presence via the domain name. So just kind of keep that in mind. Like, it's not always a painful, just because it doesn't have much traffic doesn't mean it's bad. Going based on Jacob's pointing out cool maps, I saw that. That sounds like a brandable. Brandable being a domain name that would possibly be a cool business name, right? That's a brandable. Like, what is Cool Maps? I don't know, but if I called my business that, I can make a cool business for coolmaps.com. Let's see if any keyword. One of the things I always like to see is keyword volume. I doubt anybody's really searching for cool maps. I don't know why they would. But I've been wrong before. That's why I'm typing it in. Yeah, see? That's why there you go. Jacob for the win. 2,500 searches for coolmaps.com or for cool maps, cooling hours, cool map, Minecraft map. That's actually probably what this is, probably for people looking for Minecraft maps, but we'll see. Let's go check out the keyword stuff. Okay, no advertisers, no cost per click. So this might be a nice domain name, probably expensive for the sake of building out a blog, building out, if you like maps. I actually love maps. I've been to Rome, and in Rome and the Vatican, they have all these historical maps of the world as it was kind of being discovered. Super, super cool. Like, people that used to go out and build these maps, and they have a lot of them at the Vatican. I found it very cool, and I actually love maps, and I think there's some interesting stuff in regards to them. If I wanted to nerd out over it, I could buy coolmaps.com, put up a blog, do the content method of trying to profit or make money. But with that said, I'm going to pass on coolmaps.com. But Jacob, thank you for bringing that up. Can rent. Bitcoin law firm. Skipping over it, but we're about to see the great American tradition of people losing money and starting to sue everybody, because that's just kind of how it goes. No personal responsibility. I'll shut up now. Fleet reviews. Nah. Actually, that might be okay. I'm going to mark that one. That's more of an investable type one. I run transportreviews.com, which is ratings, reviews of auto transporters. Fleet Reviews is probably pretty good as far as domain name, but I will tell you, as I've told you on several occasions, domain names reviews, where'd that go? Come on, computer, help me out. Review, oh, well, that's fun. Reviewsite.com didn't, there you go. So, oh, that's all the way up top. So missed that one, review site. I don't like it. It's generic, but hey, there's reviewsite.com. We missed that earlier. Here's the one I was going for, fleetreviews.com. Again, Enom, probably the same person, I'm telling you. So it's a pretty good domain name. The only thing is I highly recommend, unless you're super wanting to fight every day, review sites are a quick way to get you sued constantly. I think every lawsuit I've ever had is related to a review website. People don't like it when you say mean things about them. Phase It. I'm going to mark that as a star, as the guy that owns Develop It. And then a couple weeks ago, I bought Purpose It. Phase It. Why not? I might be building a collection. Okay. Moving on to the next one. We made it to page 2. Victory. We don't actually make it to page 2 very often, so I feel like we're really winning something out here. Garden Revolution. Probably a good blog name. High Arctic. So now is probably a good time just to kind of mention the fact that we do have a community. We have a community. It's over here, community.dtp.tv. Free community. You can join, chat with us, share your domain names that you're buying, share the domain names that you've missed, as well as keep us posted on any domain projects that you have going on. I have some projects that are going on. I'm not talking about them here on the show yet, but I do talk about them over in the community. There are some big things that we're working on here in regards to developing domain names. We've been working on them for years, but we're actually starting to put them into place. So there you go. Make sure you check out community. And I'll also use this as a moment to say, if you're watching, make sure you do like and subscribe if you have not. The subscriptions especially help me to show up on Google or up on YouTube. But the likes, they just make me feel good. It's nice to know that you appreciate what we're doing. I'm sure there's other reasons, but, you know, it's nice. Better than me charging admission. And as you can see, we're getting to, as we go down this page 2, we are ordered by, just for the record, I didn't mention this earlier, by the valuation that's over in that one of the columns. The valuation is the number that GoDaddy provides for the domain name, and it is just the number that they help us order it by. It's not actually the valuation. No domain name actually sells for the exact. I'm sure a couple domain names fell for it, but it's just to help you know what is a good domain name, what's not, but it's not very accurate. And it can be gamed by, look at that, we just busted through that. Okay, we'll go one more page on GoDaddy, a few more page downs, and then let's go check out some other domains. Some other platforms. And I'll show you what I mean by that here in a second. As well as we can go dive more into the domain names that I've bought recently. I don't think I've done that in a few weeks. Open news. It doesn't suck. It doesn't suck. Yeah, yes, it does.com. It does suck.com. My data rights. Okay, let's go do something that we haven't done in a while. Every week we kind of come in here to GoDaddy domains. That is our default filters. We're going to go all the way up to the top. So typically here on Domain to Profit, we spend our time here in the marketplace domains and GoDaddy expired domains. That's what our filter is all set up to do. But as I've mentioned, there are many, many other places that you can buy domain names. So there are other domain name auctions. So all of these other marketplaces are options for you to buy domains from. I have no idea if any of them, they usually just don't have as many quality domain names, but let's go check them out. So here's what happened. I went ahead and clicked Catch, which is one of the places they actually, if a domain name deletes, they try to register it and then they put it up for auction. So all of these domain names will sell. We want to order by, I want to get them into the auction. So let's see if that can, let me go. This is one of the reasons why I don't mess with drop catch too much on the show. To get the right domains to show up on the top, you need to, okay, there you go. So dropped is the kind of auction that it appears. What you'll get is you get a lot of private sellers. So I don't know if you can see, it's actually behind me here, down here at the bottom. Some of the domain names are private seller, and they're just selling their domain names through their platform. I try not to show too many private seller ones on here. So piggybanks.com seems to be one of the best ones that we have. That one's over on dropcatch.com. Let's go click on that. So we're going to see a completely different site other than Go, which is super cool, I think. I do check these other sites. It's just you tomorrow, piggybanks.com, $1,000. A nice thing about that is it is going to sell. Piggybanks.com is going to sell over on Dropcatch. All of those go. The private sellers do not. But here's what I like about, or one of the downsides of Dropcatch. Dropcatch is only known by domain nerds like myself. So the domains tend to go for very high prices. You don't have to work as hard to find the great domain names over there. They just come to the top. And the result is guys like me, other domainers, we pay more for them. We don't want to let one slide by. And that's exactly what's happening here. I wouldn't pay $2,000 for piggy banks, plural, but hey, somebody else is. That's great. Robert Parsons, key organization. Okay, moving on. So one of the questions you might have, and actually you'll probably see, we are ordered currently by price. When you are looking at these other domains, let's go over to a different one. Let's go check out, should we go to Namecheap? Let's go Namecheap. So Namecheap is another domain auction place. They have some good ones. They used to put them through GoDaddy. They were actually one that used to, I believe it was Namecheap. I'm looking to see if I'm mistaken, but they used to use, people used to use that similar to the Enom ones where they would kind of troll the price. And then there's some disagreements and drama, and now they have their own auctions. So what do you order these by? So when we look at domain names in GoDaddy, we get to order them by the valuation. That's why we use that. It's nice and easy. It helps us pull the best ones up to the top. When we look at domain names in other marketplaces, we don't have that information. So what I typically look for is, I don't even have the column set up, so I'm not even going to be able to do it. Here, you can set up a column, and I'm going to go ahead and click to do a new window, and I'm going to set up a column like this to add a general. I want the number of top level domains. So let's see here. So that's this one here. This is going to show the number of top level domains registered. Why that matters, I'll show you here in 1 second. We're going to go back over here, refresh list. Hopefully it adds that column. So now what this is going to do is this is going to allow us to order by this reg. And what that's doing is it's showing us how many domain name extensions. So there's a bunch of different extensions. We only talk about .com here, but there's .net, .org, .info, .horse. I know Lee's a big .horse fan, sarcastically, but there's all these other ones. And if you order by that, that's going to bring the ones with the most registrations and other extensions. And that a lot of times brings the best domain names to the top. A lot of times, but also, yeah, not so much. So you can order by registration, and you'll see not really seeing much good stuff happening here. Go to page down or two. VIP leads, that could be something reasonable. I don't, I like VIP as a phrase, but the other one would be to do it by bids. So if you remember, the reason why I say the bid within 5 minutes, 10 seconds left is because me and many other investors will come in and click on bids. We want to see what other people are bidding on. We let everybody else go do the work and bring the best domains up to the top. So these get our attention that way. That's why you want to wait as long as possible to bid. if you can trust that. Topshit.com. Instant followers is actually I kind of like that one a little bit, but more of an investable domains. Gaming jobs, boom. There we go. Gamingjobs.com will give us an opportunity to pull up Namecheap.com. I won't be logged in, so I won't be thinking, but you should be able to see what a Namecheap auction looks like. So this is Namecheap.com, and I'm guessing my browser. Okay, here we go. Two extensions coming. Job. It wasn't plural. So gaming job, I prefer it plural, but this one ends tomorrow, 20 hours left, currently $18. Not a horrible domain name. I know there's people that look for jobs in gaming, so probably worth mentioning. Now, one of the things about Namecheap and many of these other extensions or these other places that you can buy domain names at auction, you need to be pre-qualified to bid over a certain amount. So whenever you see a domain name or think that you're going to want to buy a domain name, you need to make sure that you are meeting their requirements to bid. What does that look like? Some cases you need to put a deposit down. Some cases you need to link a bank account or do some kind of verification. There's all kinds of different things. There's no set one option. So there you go. There's gaming job over on, what was that? Namecheap.com. First time we've mentioned them. So there you go. Not really seeing anything else. Kitchen job. And I will also say there is a chance that they pull their own domains back. I don't think so. I've not participated in many auctions there. So that was Namecheap. We got 3 minutes left. We'll go to do one more. We'll try Namejet. When you do Namejet, you're going to want to do the pre-release domains. That's the equivalent of an expiring domain. And the way theirs will work is their domain names, you have to bid to even get into the auction. So you have to be willing to pay $69 or $79 to say, hey, I'm willing to pay $79 for that domain name. That buys you access to that domain name. You only pay that amount if you win. But once you do that, then the auction goes only to those people that have said that they would buy it. And the result is a lot of times you get really a lot lower prices over on Namejet. InvisibleFriends.com. If I'm not mistaken, I might have that one back ordered already. InvisibleFriends.com, just for fun. And Pet Solutions, I might have that one back ordered. Comedy Tour, somewhat confident I have that back ordered as well. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. I'll take you over so you can see what Namejet looks like. And I'm not logged in, so it's not referring to me. So it says I do not have it on back order. So what you need to do was to Namejet is you need to back order the domain name. So you just go here, you enter in $79. It doesn't matter if the current bid is higher. You just enter in the minimum. You place proxy bid, you accept it, and now what will happen is in 8 hours, this domain name will go up for auction as of that point. If you have not bid, if you have not said you're willing to pay at least $79, you will not be allowed in that auction. So you'll see here, there are 11 bids. So I'm guessing that's 11 people that have said, hey, I want to be part of the auction. So you're limiting the field of people that are participating in the auction, which is one of the nice things about Snap Names and Namejet, because it does limit it. The only thing is the only people that really use them are people like me, domain people, so the prices still can get carried away. So worth probably checking it out. So there you go. I have no idea. We're not talking about NFTs anymore. They're dead to the world. Let me see here. Wrote a full domain name, not sure if text showed up. I think if you type a domain name into the chat, you'll need to space it out, or I think maybe you can add a pound in front of it or a hash mark. I just realized how Yeah. So if you do that, I think it will let the domain name show up. Otherwise, the spam filters on the chat remove domain names, just so you know. Okay. What do you think? I think that was not bad. So let's kind of go and summarize a little bit of what we talked about as we're wrapping up the show here. ComedyTour.com over on Namecheap. I like it just as a domain name, not really going to probably pursue it other than participate. We'll see. The one I this week was Tailors.com. One is part of that loophole, that Enom thing, where most likely the domain name is not actually going to expire. So bid last minute and then pay as slow as possible if you end up winning that domain name. That's what I will be doing for sure. DanceParty.com. I believe it was unfortunately another Enom one, but it's a great domain name, ending in 4 days, $2,900 currently, bid late and pay late. CollaborativeLearning.com. This one I believe was a GoDaddy one. So this one I believe will sell. Ends in 2 days, currently $105. And it had some reasonable keyword type data, but the advertisers were crap. Accident repair wasn't really happening. Hazmat response, again, numbers were not great, but the domain name's pretty good. Coolmaps.com, great domain name, high search traffic, but no advertisers. That one was a nice domain name. And then we looked through droppiggybanks.com with Gaming Job and a few other job domain names, as well as Namecheap with Comedy Tour and a couple others. So there we go. There's some of the domains we talked about. A little bit of a different domain to profit this week. Hopefully you got some good information. Avoid the trolls, avoid the loopholes, but have fun bidding on domain names. And then when you win those domain names, be sure to develop them out, because that is what we are here to do. Use these domain names to benefit and bring value to the world, as well as collect a profit and revenue for ourselves. Man, it's like so nice to actually like do something that's helpful and get something in return. I don't know. I like it. I always say, like, someday I hope to be a billionaire. And when I will be, like, it's going to be because I'm bringing so much more value to the world. There you go. Oh. So I'm Drew Walsh. This is Domain to Profit. And I am going to be wrapping up, but I'm never ready to exit because I forget to do what I need to set up the exit. But okay. If you haven't, make sure you liked, make sure you subscribed. Thank you for joining me. I'll be back for our 100th weekly show next week, 100 next week. And hopefully there's lots of great domain names available. Maybe some gimmicks or some fun stuff. We might do something. Who knows? Either way, you should be here, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next Monday, we'll be here for Domain to Profit. I hope to see you then.